What happens when you want the best keyboard possible? You search up the best keyboards on the internet and get pages upon pages about custom keyboards with terms you don't really get. So a whole lot of research is needed to even understand what the heck is going on. You can go the other route, like getting a nicer, pricier keyboard, and that's this. And today's sponsor, Asus, and their Azoth Extreme keyboard. Full disclosure, this is a paid showcase, so please keep in mind that this is not a review. In my own opinion, sponsored content cannot be a review, but this is something that was paid to be discussed and to promote Asus's Gear to the Extreme campaign, where you can win prizes to upgrade your own personal setup just by submitting some shots of your own Extreme setups to the link in the video description down below. That being said, I got some hot takes about this thing, both positive and negative, that we can talk about. Like the elephant in the room. This keyboard is $500, which is a crazy amount of money to spend on just a single keyboard. You can get so many different keyboards for a whole lot less money than this, even within Asus's own lineup of keyboards. So what does $500 get you? First, in the box, you get the keyboard itself, all the different tools to take this thing apart and customize it, like a keycap remover, switch remover, a USB-C cable, USB adapters, 2 sets of magnetic feet to change the angle of the keyboard, and a nice little wrist rest. The physical features of the keyboard is honestly the best part about this thing, and I don't think videos or photos online do it justice. It's a very pretty looking, sturdy feeling keyboard. Like, there's absolutely no bend in the body at all. It has a carbon fiber plate underneath the switches and aluminum alloy body that makes it look and feel very premium. The entire body is cold to the touch. The OLED display is an unnecessary but cool add, and there's a dial for on-the-fly adjustments like RGB color profiles, multimedia control, and of course, volume control. But it's really hard to not emphasize how nice holding this thing is. And that's high praised because I typically don't like how ROG products look. They're very gamery. But the build quality on this thing is just too nice to ignore. Except these keycaps. I'm not a fan of the textured keycaps or the font that's labeled on them. But luckily, you can swap out these keycaps for different keycaps to further customize this keyboard. But then you lose the little keyboard shortcut text that's on some of the keys. The switches underneath are hot swappable as well, so if you want to use whatever the current trendiest switches are with this board, you can. All the tools you need to do this are already inside the box, so it was easy to change these things out. This keyboard has so many different ways to connect to your computer. You could use a 2.4 gigahertz dongle for a fast wireless connection, connect it directly to your computer with a USB-C cable, or connect up to 3 more different devices through Bluetooth. A big issue that I've had with gaming-focused keyboards in the past is they usually don't come with Bluetooth, so this is definitely a nice addition. All these connectivity options are controlled by a little switch up top, so you can quickly switch between all the different input options, and there's dedicated apps that you can download on PC or Mac, Armoury Crate Gear, that lets you control a bunch of the different features on this keyboard. If you own other Asus products, you might want to consider the standard Armoury Crate app, but I don't personally like that app. It's got way too much going on, and the app itself is not great. So I would just stick to Armoury Crate Gear if this is your only ROG product. Another big issue I have with a lot of gaming peripherals is their battery life. And wireless keyboards with short battery life of like 3 days, especially in 2024, no way. But the ROG Azoth Extreme can last just a few days or up to a month, depending on if the RGB lighting and the OLED display is on, which is plenty in between time before charging if you don't crank brightness on everything up to 100%. So if you need it to, the battery life can last a while. You may have also noticed this nice little OLED display. This display can be used to show how fast you're typing, what music is playing, change the lighting effects, and to keep an eye on your system status. It's all controlled through this little dial, which I wish was a little more tactile, but it does its job. The OLED screen lets you make some quick adjustments, but if you want to make even more finer changes, you gotta use Armoury Crate. You can also personalize the display by swapping out to many of the different animation styles, as well as different status messages based on what you're doing. Okay, all those details about its physical capabilities are great and all, but what about the important stuff? How does it look? How does it feel? How does it sound? Well, put on some headphones and let's do a quick little sound test. Personally, straight out of the box, I think it sounds pretty good already. and typing on it has a good feel to it. Again, if there's any concerns about how it feels or sounds, you can just swap out the keycaps or switches. But of course, that is an additional cost, and this is already a $500 keyboard. So you want to make sure that you already like how it sounds even straight out of the box. One thing that would have been really nice to have in a gaming focused keyboard, and especially for a gaming focused brand like Asus's ROG, are Hall effect switches. These would provide another layer of customizability that gamers and really any keyboard user would love to have, especially at this price point. Basically, these Hall effect switches and software tweaks allow you to adjust the actuation point on each individual key. This means you would be able to control how much pressure you need to put on a key to register it as a key press. And Armoury Crate is already software that is required if you want to customize this keyboard. There's a fit there. So this kind of all leads me to this next topic, right? Let's be real here. This is a very expensive keyboard, but it's also not necessarily unreasonable. Most keyboards can be purchased for significantly less than this keyboard. That's just a statement of fact, much like the non-extreme version of the ROG Azoth. But what sets this keyboard apart is all the effort put into its build quality. And this keyboard does not disappoint there. It's my favorite thing about this keyboard. It feels and looks great in person, but really at the same time, you can definitely build a similar build quality custom keyboard and probably for a little less too. But if you built your own keyboard before, you know it's similar to building a PC. It requires you learn a bit about keyboards and all of the different custom components before you're able to put one together so that you know what you're doing. So what you're paying for beyond just keyboard parts is the time and research to find what you want exactly, wait for everything to ship together, and the time spent assembling and tweaking the keyboard to fit just exactly what you want it to do. While this keyboard is more of a buy it and forget it type of situation, and there's plenty of custom keyboards that can cost more than this and still require assembly too. I really think this thing is aimed at people who want keyboard enthusiast quality and features like pre-looped switches, a well-stabilized spacebar, very premium feeling materials, and a board that offers an OLED display and lots of connection options. And if you look at the custom keyboard options that offer all of that, it's pretty hard to find all that in a single package. And you would also have to be someone who doesn't want to build something themselves. And you would also have to be someone who enjoys the ROG aesthetic, which not everyone loves, or it might not fit into the look of their own setup, and that's fine. But now this is a premium option that's available if you are into those things and don't want to spend the time and effort figuring it all out by yourself. It's an interesting keyboard for sure. So that's the ROG Azoth Extreme. Let me know what you think. Does a keyboard like this have appeal to you? Does a super premium pre-built option make sense to you? Leave all that down in the comment section below, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.